You have reached local 911. Due to isolation protocols, emergency service is no longer in operation in this zone.
Hi, I'm Sophia Jessica, and this is Angel, and welcome to the fan carpet.
Hello.
Hello, Kristanna. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing very well, thank you. Such a pleasure to speak to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Like what?
yeah, been a
You're,
big fan.
oh,
Sorry.
sorry. You go ahead.
Oh,
I made
I was just going to
like,
say that I've been a big fan of yours for a very long time.
oh,
I loved you in Boy Meets World as Jennifer. I thought you were great in that. Obviously TX in Terminator 3. Sorry. And yeah, and like Rain as Blood Rain and in Blood Rain and all the rest of it. So yeah, just yeah. So it's an absolute treat to talk to you tonight.
thank you. I so appreciate that. I'm really pleased that I've been a part of your journey of life.
Absolutely. Um, I'll just jump straight in. If we go back to the beginning, was there a defining moment for you to get into the entertainment industry?
There sure was, actually. Ever since I was a little tiny girl, like the age of 3, I wanted to be an actress. I can't remember ever wanting to do anything else. Well, there was a brief period when I started watching Indiana Jones, where I thought maybe an archaeologist would be a good plan, but always wanted to be an actress. I was fortunate enough growing up to do summer stock theater and voice lessons and dance. And so when I wanted to really pursue it as a career at the ripe young age of 13, I was watching a film called Beethoven. Maybe you remember it,
Yep.
with the big Saint Bernard dog in the
Mm-hmm.
family.
Yep.
And there was a girl in it, the actress Nicole Tom, who's about my age. And I looked at her and I just went, I identified and I said to my parents, how do I get to do that? That was like the next step from doing the theater locally and such. And my dad had been an actor. My mother was a model, and I grew up on a fruit farm in upstate New York, about 2 hours from New York City. And they took me into the city. I met my dad's old agent, and he took me on. And he said, "You know, there's an audition tomorrow that you'd be right for. Would you like to go in on it?" I said, "Sure." So I went in on it, and it was a soap opera called Days. Not no, it wasn't. It was As the World Turns. I'm getting them confused now. As the World Turns. And I ended up getting the job, and I thought, wow, this is really easy. Like, first beginner's luck. But I got the job, and I did the show for about 6 months, and it was an amazing learning curve. I played the speed age daughter, if you will, of Meg Ryan's character. Meg Ryan had played my mother. She left the show. She had a baby. A couple years later, they replaced her with a different actress. And, now I'm like a young teen, her daughter. So, and my love interest was Jason Biggs, who you may recall from the American Pie franchise. And yeah, that was the beginning.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. So what can you tell us about Dark Knight of the Soul?
Well, this is a film that is very near and dear to my heart. Did you get a chance to see it?
Yeah, it's very
Great.
topical. Very topical, like especially with what we dealt with not so lot of a few years ago. So yeah. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, good. I'm glad you got to see it. Yeah, this was a film that I read the script and I really enjoyed it. It's a character that I could really dig my teeth into. I personally really enjoy survival films. And yes, it is topical, like you said. It's a woman who has a very high position at the Center of Disease Control. And without giving away any spoilers, her husband and daughter are patient 1 and 2 in this pandemic, and she has been trying to no avail for about 2 years to find the cure. She gets into this car accident, gets pinned under the car. And the title, Dark Night of the Soul, I don't know if you're aware of this, is actually a poem. It's an
Mm.
old poem. So you do know. Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
in my
Great.
research, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, so Dark Night of the Soul even has become a bit of a phrase. I wasn't aware of it beforehand, but your Dark Night of the Soul is facing death. And have you done what you needed to in this lifetime to pass to the afterlife, or do you still have work that needs to be done? So, this is Alex's Dark Night of the Soul. And through that, and getting pinned under the car, and experiencing extreme blood loss, there's all of these kind of alternative realities that are going on at the same time in her head, given the real one that she's in. So she's got the hallucinations of conversations with her father, that she always went to in the past, who was there for her, but in a need for solace, she goes to him for advice. So there's that path. And then there's a path with her daughter, who, as I mentioned, was patient 1 and 2, her husband and daughter. And her daughter has come back in the form of this superhero that she loved, and she relates to her in that way. And then we have her conversations with God in the form of a dog. And then we have her reality of what's happening. And of course, the one remaining person that is alive in her life is her sisters. So then we have some flashbacks of a conversation she had with her before her husband and daughter left to go to Africa. So I really loved the script. And there was an extra bonus. I got to film it in upstate New York, where I mentioned I'm not far at all from where I'm from. So I even got to visit the farm, even though my parents have sold it now about a decade or so ago. And the fall colors and foliage are so beautiful that time of year. So I liked the overall look and feel, and I like a good challenge. And a lot of my scenes, I mean, of course, it's a dialogue piece. I have the scenes with the father, the scenes with the daughter, and then the other characters I mentioned, but a lot of it is also on my own. And so for an actor, it's exciting when you can take on something that you don't get to normally do like that. So I really enjoyed it on a lot of levels.
Awesome. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, you star a lot. You starred alongside a lot of legends over the course of your career, from Arnold Schwarzenegger to Sir Ben Kingsley. The list is endless. Now in Dark Knight of the Soul, you get to star alongside Martin Cove. What's he like as a collaborator?
Martin was great. I personally have a very close relationship with my father, so I was excited to build that on-screen relationship with Martin. And he was very available. He really wanted to go for it as well, give it his all. He was very happy to rehearse, and he was very kind-hearted, sweet man. So overall, we really had a lot of fun together. And he's got 2 children. Actually, his one son is in the movie, Jesse, and I believe he's got a twin sister as well. So, and I know Jesse previously. He's an acquaintance of mine. So there was a nice built-in rapport there.
Awesome. It's wonderful. And obviously, behind the camera, you've got SJ. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Creazzo, who wrote and directed the film.
Right.
What's he like to work with?
Yeah, SJ, he was before we shot the film, we had an opportunity to rehearse together over Zoom with some of the other actors, with Martin and Gabrielle, who plays the superhero version of my daughter in the alter ego sense, Amazonia. And so we had an opportunity to get to know one another a little bit, albeit through the computer beforehand, and really flesh out the characters and the story. And the one thing that was really interesting about SJ or Steve was how he ladled this character or laden this character with this ultimate need of control. And that was an interesting piece for me to really work on with him, because that is very different than my persona. I'm not one to control. I don't believe that we can control our life or our destiny or really virtually anything. You know, a lot of it is up to chance. We try to move things forward in the world, and then we have all kinds of external stimuli that hits us in different ways. And as I tell my son, we just have to go with the flow. So that was something that is, I think, a personal trait experience to him. So I really worked with him a lot on that. And Alex's character, who comes from a world of science where things are very controlled. It is a controlled environment with experiments and outcomes, and her internal battle of dealing with that in life and really experiencing the sense that that isn't the case, and really grieving very much so still the loss of her husband and daughter.
Mm, yeah. So what does it mean for you to be a storyteller and tell stories in this way?
It's a great question. You know, I think the medium of cinema and television and the arts is to evoke a feeling, right? I mean, we go, we watch something because we want to feel a certain way. We want to feel empowered. We want to feel deep emotional moments that we can relate to. And, you know, we as human beings have this wonderful ability to feel, you know, that animals and plants do not have. So I think the depth of the emotional world of the characters allows the viewers the journey and the space to really feel those depths of things. And maybe they haven't had that experience, but they can relate to it in some way. And hopefully, it'll be a sort of cathartic experience for them, or help them see things maybe in a way that they hadn't seen before, or help get through something in their life that they're going towards, or inspire them, or, you know, whatever that is that they're going for. So I really feel like as a storyteller, um, that's my drive. That's my passion behind why I do what I do.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's something that we like human beings have always inherently been storytellers. All the way back to like the campfires, like telling stories around the campfire, or cave paintings with the like with the cavemen and stuff like that. So yeah, we've always done it. Like early language was pictograms.
That's
So
right. Yeah. Yeah. The gift of telling stories. It's so true. I mean, I have that experience now with my 8-year-old son. I mean, we read books together all the time, and what you can learn through that is just incredible.
absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have any memories from filming Dark Knight of the Soul that you'll remember for the rest of your career?
Hmm. Yes, I do. I would say that we shot this film in a record amount of time. I have never shot a film, I believe it was in 8 days, I think.
Wow.
I know, crazy. And it's mainly me talking through the film. So I knew that I mean, I always give 110% to my projects, but I knew that I had to have this script down like a play. I had to know everything and be prepared, because there was no margin for error, really, if we were going to complete the film on time. So I did. I rehearsed the heck out of it beforehand, had the entire script memorized before I got there. And then we broke it up into sections. You know, we have the section, of course, in the car. We have the section with my sister. We have the section with my dad. And those are the three main sections. So what I enjoyed, and Steve or SJ and I talked about this, was that we would do things sequentially in each section, which would help with the flow and the through line of action, which was really great because you don't always get to do that. And we had a great DP, Pascal, and he really kept the camera moving in ways that were very interesting. And he and I really collaborated a lot on what we thought would work well and how. Of course, when you're in a car, you're in a tight space and you've got to keep the camera moving, make it interesting, you know. And some of the shots we have with Martin are set up really like a play where you have very few camera moves. So I really thought he did an excellent job with that as well. And then, of course, like I said, you know, filming in near Windham, New York, which is where I remember skiing growing up. So there were a lot of this is a special film for me. There are a lot of things about this film that I really enjoyed.
Awesome. Wonderful. It's always nice to hear. Do you what are you hoping audience will take away from the film when they see it?
I hope inspiration, will to carry on and to believe in yourself. You know, we all have our moments or our days or our times where things become overwhelming in our life. And it's a good reminder that we ourselves have the power to overcome. And even when it seems really difficult and like the odds are stacked up against us, and to really dig deep as to what matters in their life and why, and how are their relationships with their family members? What do they represent to them? Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. In your career, you've been in a wide range of films, from action films to comedy to drama to science fiction. Are there any genres that you haven't done yet that you'd like to?
I'd like to do a biopic, actually, and I've yet to play a character living or deceased, and portray them. So that's on my goal list for sure.
Okay. Awesome. You're the CEO of your company, so maybe that'll
That's
be
true.
one of the projects that you do. Um, with the popularity of streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus, what do you think the future of cinema is?
That's the $1 million question right now. You know, after the actors went on strike, there's been a big retooling inside of the industry, of the type of content that's being made, how much of the content is being made, with all the streaming platforms. The market had really just gotten watered down. And for us, it was important to be able to evoke a change. And I don't think anybody really quite knows what that change is going to be yet. If it becomes self-distribution, which, you know, of course, we're seeing a lot of pretty much on YouTube and things like that on that platform. Certainly, technology has come so far, so you can do so much more. You can make a film look so much bigger with so much less than you ever could do in the past. So it's a very, very changing environment where things before were pretty cut and dry. There were certain pathways you'd have to take if you had an independent film or a studio film or a television series, you know, network or cable. But that's all changed so much. And on the upside, it also means that people can get really creative and think outside the box. And there really is no right or wrong way to go about doing something. So I think in a lot of ways, it's opened up the doors for people to be creative in their approach. But I wish I had the answer to that, but I don't. I think we'll just have to see what's around the next corner.
Absolutely. And this is a good thing and a bad thing that everybody walks around with a camera in their phone, and it's 4K in most
Right.
cases.
It's true. And, I went to a screening of a film the other day that was entirely shot on an iPhone, and it looked amazing. You would
Mm.
never have known. I mean, afterwards in the Q&A, we were all like, how'd you do it? Because, then he needed to say, well, I shot the movie over a course of time, and then all of a sudden, like, a new lens would be available. And then I'd get that lens, and then I'd shoot things with that lens. And, they had fisheye lenses and all of these things that, I mean, it's just unbelievable. So you're right. Yeah. I mean, people are doing things in ways that were never seen before. And of course, then through the pandemic, we were pushed into situations and in some ways having to look outside the box again at our approach and why we're doing things the way that we're doing them. Because we didn't have the opportunity to do them in the way in which that we did before. So,
Mm.
yeah, each time there's either a cultural shift, a worldwide global pandemic, or a technological shift. And of course, now we have AI, which is has a big position in the world. And I think we're just, of course, only at the tip of the iceberg there. We're really forced into progression. And that opens the doors for a lot of creativity in that process.
Absolutely. I mean, Tangerine a few years ago was all shot on phone.
Mm.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, you're the CEO of Trio Entertainment, the president as well. Was producing always part of your career path, and what you're working on next you can talk about?
Yeah. Being in this business for many, many years now, I think if you have your eyes open and it's important to you, I look at producing as like the conductor that's conducting the orchestra and putting all the pieces together, and that's something that always was interesting to me in putting together a film, the subject matter with the people that I wanted to work with, the roles that I wanted to portray, hopefully with an important message. I generally tend to be drawn myself to films that have an important message, social impact films as well. But for sure, of course, scripted narratives, documentaries. I mean, anything that really was inspirational or is inspirational to me. So our film, Vice and Virtue, which will be out in the beginning of next year, it has a great ensemble cast. I'm also in it. I produced it. My company, Tree Entertainment, produced it. It's a story, too, that gives you a little pause for thought, because you have Vice and Virtue. They're two celestial beings. They come down to planet Earth, and they invoke this judgment day on about half a dozen people that find themselves in an undisclosed location. And over the course of this evening, we do this deep study on these people's lives. And we look at what choices they've made that have taken them to this exact place and time, and how certain choices moving forward will take them in one direction and or down another path. So this was a concept that I was really sitting with a lot during the pandemic, because it was all about our choices. My gosh, do I go to this event? Do I not? Do I see this person? Do I not? And what that ripple effect could potentially be. And of course, coming out of that, it's very much with me, because those choices have an impact that can really continue that domino effect. So Vice and Virtue is coming out, as I mentioned, beginning part of next year, and we're very excited about that.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. It sounds fascinating. Is that the one written by your dad?
No, that one, we did collaborate on a film together called Fighting for Freedom, which is about the immigration crisis in America. And it stars myself and legendary two-time Academy Award nominee Bruce Dern, who plays my dad. Yeah, we shot that on my parents' farm before they sold it in upstate New York. So that was also
Okay.
very special to immortalize that. and the neighboring town where I grew up. So that was special. But yes, there will be others that I will collaborate with him on. We have another script that we're developing now, taken from his novel, The Boy Next Door. The script is called A Killing Kind, and it's the study of the mind of a psychosexual serial killer. So with all the true crime stuff that's popular now, they're actually doing a podcast, and then we'll be developing it into a film.
Okay, that sounds fascinating too. Good, like true crime is true crime seems to always be at the forefront of things at the moment.
For sure.
I mean, Netflix released a documentary on Dharma, but then they also did like a dramatization of Dharma as well, and yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's neat too when you hear the true crime aspects of the actual story itself, and then you see it portrayed. It adds a whole other level, I think, of the awareness of your insights to what it's like to be in that mindset. And again, as an actor and an artist, I mean, it's my job to get into the mindset of whatever characters I play. So it's always an interesting, fascinating study for me. And then I have one more film called No Address that is coming out in theaters here in the U.S. nationwide, February 28th. And that is an important film that underscores the plight of homelessness that we're currently experiencing here in the U.S. It really just mushroomed through COVID, and Los Angeles alone has the largest homeless community, about 75,000 individuals. So we're hoping to really raise the awareness of what's broken in the system. There's also a documentary that they've released that's now streaming called Americans with No Address. They got on a tour bus, went to 17 different cities, interviewing people in the homeless community and lawmakers, seeing what was broken, seeing what was working, and then did the documentary on that. So the stories that you hear in the scripted feature are stories that were inspired by people that were met on this journey for the documentary. So in the scripted feature, it's myself. Billy Baldwin plays my husband. Ashanti, the singer, actress. Beverly D'Angelo, Xander Berkeley, Patricia Velasquez, Ty Pennington. So it's a nice big ensemble cast as well, and some newcomers in there too. So yeah, we're excited about that one as well.
Awesome. That sounds great. Hopefully that comes over to the UK at some point soon.
Yeah.
Soon. So is there a book that you're a fan of that hasn't been adapted to film or TV or Netflix yet that you'd like to be a part of?
Yes, there is. And, I find Stormy Daniels a very interesting character. And I think it would be interesting to adapt her life story. And she has a book as well that I've read into a scripted feature. Yeah,
Okay.
she's an interesting character. Yeah, and I think that would be a good one to develop.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so just before I let you go, where can we find you online to keep up with everything you're doing?
Sure. So Instagram is KS Loken. I have my official Facebook page, and then X is @Loken Kristanna.
Awesome. And obviously trios everywhere as well. So
that's it. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me this evening.
My pleasure.
I know you've got a ton of things that you're going off to do, so I won't keep you, but thank you so much, and yeah, look out for everything you're doing next. And
thank you so much.
This has been an absolute pleasure for me to speak to you.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Thanks for being a fan. It was really nice talking to you, and send me the link and I'll share the word.
Awesome. All right. Thanks very much. You have a good one. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. Please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram for more content. Bye for now.
You're alive. You've got to fight. You show what you can do. I hear a siren. Maybe you were wrong about me. I'm dangerous and still. Why don't you give me a sign like the sea? Everybody thinks that I'm okay. Sometimes I think I am too. I'm on the outside looking in. I'm waiting for the shockwaves to begin. Oh, won't you let me hold you for one time? Just a rainy day in a London cafe. A London cafe. So give me one last serenade. Say to me, or swear at me till the night turns into day. And it was a shame when daylight faded, because we didn't notice at all.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.